All right, let's get into one of the absolute strangest and most tragic events in modern French history. It's a story that involves performance art, bootleg rocket fuel, and, well, some truly catastrophic chemistry.
So picture this, a huge festival out in the beautiful lavender fields of Provence, France. But this party ends in an unbelievable disaster that claims the lives of 678 people.
And yet, somehow, in the middle of all that devastation, there was only a single survivor. Just one. One person made it out.
So you have to be asking, how on earth did this happen? How does a performance artist end up at the center of one of the country's worst disasters? To figure that out, we need to look at the scene, the artist himself, and the explosive science that made it all go so wrong.
Okay, first, let's talk about the setting, because this wasn't just any old festival. Oh no, this was the 47th annual Pou de la Rire, which literally translates to Poo of Laughter, a festival completely dedicated to the art of flatulence.
You know, I think the event's organizer, Etienne Eclat, really said it best. And he said this from inside a hospital hazmat hood, by the way. What was supposed to be a celebration became a requiem.
Now, at the heart of this whole tragedy was one man, a famous and, pretty controversial artist. He was a Petomane, that's a professional farter, by the name of Jean Fournier.
And Fournier was apparently a true artist, known for playing complex songs and planning these huge finales. You can see his act was building towards something big, a pyrotechnic masterpiece he called the Big Bang Butt Blast.
So, to get those big pyrotechnic effects he was famous for, Fournier needed a special kind of fuel. He would actually drink this highly volatile mix that people called rocket rum, a blend of grain alcohol and, get this, actual RP1 kerosene.
Right, so how did this all go from a performance to a deadly inferno? Well, investigators from the newly formed French Fart Forensics Forum were called in to figure out the exact scientific cause of the explosion.
And what they found was just this terrifyingly perfect three-step chain reaction. First, Fournier drinks the fuel. Second, the air at the festival was already supercharged with methane, from all the chili and cheese everyone was eating. And then third, the vapors from Fournier's act hit an open flame from a food stall nearby. And when you look at the science, it's just undeniable. The ignition point for the kerosene in that rocket rum is 210 degrees Celsius. But forensic models showed that Fournier's output, even before it ignited, was already at an unbelievable 800 degrees Celsius. An explosion wasn't just possible at that point, it was pretty much inevitable.
The lead investigator, Dr. Gaspard Giscard, whose official title was Chief Clench Consultant, summed it all up. It was this deadly combination of fuel, atmosphere, and ignition, a literal supernova.
The explosion itself was immediate and just devastating. But the consequences, well, they were bizarre, far-reaching, and are actually still being felt today.
The blast was absolutely immense. We're talking a 1,200-degree inferno that created a 40-meter fireball. It instantly vaporized the entire VIP section and just incinerated all those famous lavender fields that surrounded the festival.
And that, of course, had a direct economic impact. With the entire region's lavender harvest basically turned to ash, the price of local perfume was set to absolutely skyrocket. Projections showed a 300% increase almost overnight.
So what about that sole survivor we mentioned? Well, he was a 73-year-old named Raoul Rousseau. He'd been sitting in the cheap seats, safely downwind. From his hospital room, he offered a pretty unique take on things, vowing to come back next year with, better protection?
And the legacy of this event just keeps unfolding. Insurance companies started using active gas clauses to deny over 1,000 claims. The UN started pushing for global GLUT guidelines. And our survivor, Mr. Rousseau? He's actually suing for his own solo show.
The article that originally documented this whole thing offered one final and strangely poetic thought on Fournier's legendary and lethal final performance, a real testament to his incredible, if not reckless, ambition.
In the end, the whole tragedy of Jean Fournier and the Pou de la Rire Festival leaves us with a really tough question. When you're pushing boundaries and trying to create art, where do you draw the line between artistic expression and a genuine danger to public safety?